Hello everyone, Tina here. I hope your day is going wonderful. Thank you so much for joining me. We are playing with pattern paper today. We're using a collection from Photoplay Paper. This is the Autumn Vibes 12x12 collection pack. Perfect for fall and autumn themes. I thought we'd make some quick and easy 5-minute makes using this collection pack along with the coordinating Autumn Vibes My Color Cardstock Variety Pack. I love that these colors coordinate really nicely with our pattern papers, and I'm going to create card bases with the Gold Rush in this collection pack. I'm going to trim down my card bases, we're going to pick out some pattern papers, and we're going to jump in. The pattern papers that we're going to be using, I'm going to name them off. We have Crunchy Leaves. This I think is my favorite. I don't know what about I could frame this, it's just so pretty. But we're going to use Crunchy Leaves, Bushels, Crisp Air, for our pattern papers. And then to create some quick 5-minute makes, we're bringing in some of the cut aparts. I really love the Hello Autumn, and using the same print that's in our pattern paper, we're going to use this one and this one in our card today. So I'm going to trim down some cardstock, and I'll trim these apart for my 12x12 sheets, and then we'll get started on our first project. I created two 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches top folding card bases with a My Colors cardstock. I just need one for this card, so we'll put the other one off to the side. And then I have a panel here of our beautiful pattern paper. This measures 4 inches wide by 5 1/4 inches tall. I'm going to go ahead and adhere this to the front of my card base, and we'll just use the tape runner for this. Once we have this adhered, I chose this cut apart for this card, and you'll notice that I used the 2 extra pieces of pattern paper. I die cut out some circles with it. We are going to mat these two together, and then I'm also bringing in some corrugated cardstock. I love corrugated with fall cards because it just gives it that added texture. We are going to layer all 3 of these together, so let's go ahead and do that right now. If you have a nesting circle die set, break it out, because we're going to add our brown pattern paper to our orange pattern paper, and then we'll take this and pop this up on our corrugated cardstock. Now you'll notice that the bottom of my corrugated cardstock is cut off, and that's okay because we're going to end up cutting off the bottom anyway. Now I have a circle die. This one is smaller than my brown circle here. And what we're going to do is tape this down, and I'm going to run this through my die cut machine, and we are going to create a partial circle with this. Once we have this die cut, I'm going to take my greeting. I put some adhesive behind it, just a little bit. I am going to end up popping this up, so I just wanted a little bit of adhesive so I know exactly where I'm going to position this on my card base. So I will take this, flip it over. I will add some more adhesive on the reverse side. And then using this as a guide, we are going to tack this down in the bottom right corner. Okay, I will open this up, and then we're going to trim away the excess. So now I know that this is going to fit perfectly in this bottom corner here. Okay, before we pop this up with foam tape, I'm going to bring in some ink and a blending brush. I want to add a little bit of blue around this die cut here. I think that is just the right amount. I'll take my panel and I'm going to flip it around. We're going to add some foam tape behind it, and we're going to place it back on here. Before we add it to this card base, I'm going to bring in some natural colored twine, and I'm going to wrap it around the front of my card a couple times. And then we're going to tie a bow over here to the left. And then we're going to place this back on this bottom corner here. Because I want a little bit more dimension on here, I'm bringing in our sticker sheet. I'm going to use the acorn piece here. We're going to put some foam squares behind it. And I'm going to take this leaf flourish too, and we're going to add this as well. I'm going to take the greeting that says "I'm nuts about you," and I'm going to add a thin strip of foam tape behind here, and we're going to add this greeting to our card right up on the top area. Let's grab some foam tape. Lastly, I'm going to take some gems. We are going to go ahead and add a little bit of sparkle to our card. And that will finish off my first card. We're going to jump in to our next card. For my next card, I have my card base using the same My Colors cardstock. We're going to take a panel. This panel measures 4 inches wide by 5.5 inches tall. So it's going to leave me a little bit of that cardstock showing on the left and right. We're going to go ahead and adhere this to the front of our card. Okay, and then I have a piece of white cardstock. This is 2 3/4 inches wide by 4.5 inches tall. We're going to do a little bit of ink blending over the top of this panel here. I'm going to use that same teal colored, it's almost the same color as this here, and I'm just going to add a little bit of shading in this top area. Now that we have our blue background, I'm going to take my cut apart and we are going to do a little bit of fussy cutting with it. I'm going to start by removing the arch here, just following along the curve, and then with this piece I thought we would fussy cut around these trees. So we trimmed around our trees so we have a fun, playful look. What we're gonna do is take this cut apart and we are gonna stretch it, and that's why we have this panel that we colored with ink. Okay, we're gonna start by adding some foam tape behind here. I'm gonna add a thin strip right on the very bottom. So we have foam tape here. I'm gonna bring in some more of that corrugated cardstock. I have a 1/2 inch strip we're going to add to the very bottom of this panel. This is one way we can stretch it. And of course you could use pattern paper if you wanted to, but we're going to place this at the very bottom. I'm going to trim away what's overhanging, and then I will take this and place it right over the top. Now this is wider than my panel, so I'm going to center it and then I will flip it over and trim away the excess. This way I know it's perfectly centered. I have a strip of the orange colored pattern paper. This is a little bit less than 1/4 inch, and what we're going to do is add some glue behind here. And then I'll take this and put this at the seam, kind of tucking it under there. I'm going to take our fussy cut piece, we're going to flip it around, we're going to add some adhesive behind here, and then I'm going to tuck this behind our greeting, and again a little bit's overhanging so we can trim away the excess, but what this did is just so now we have a little bit of dimension. You can see here. We're going to go in with our sticker sheet next, and we're going to add some trees. Now that we have some trees, we're going to bring in some more of that natural colored twine, and I'm going to wrap it around on this bottom section. I'm going to add adhesive behind my panel, and then we're going to mat this on our brown cardstock. I'm going to place our panel right down the center. I'm going to add a greeting underneath my sentiment. So I scooted my bow down a little bit, but this says, "Give thanks with a grateful heart." And we're going to place this right under "Hello Autumn." I'm just going to make sure that it's centered. And last but not least, there's a small acorn in our sticker sheet. I thought we would add that over the center of our bow. And then we are going to finish our card off with a few extra gems here. And that finishes off that card. I love the dimension in that background. We kind of stretched out that cut apart for our card base. But these are both the cards that we created today with Photoplay Paper's Autumn Vibes collection pack. I hope you enjoyed my projects. Thanks so much for joining me. Have a fabulous day, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.